ಹಾಯ್ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಟು ಅವರ್ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಚಾನಲ್. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಒಂದು ತರಗತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಲೋಕೋಮೋಷನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗೋಣ. ಲೋಕೋಮೋಷನ್ಗೂ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೂ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನು? ಲೋಕೋಮೋಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ವಾಲಂಟರಿ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಅನ್ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಒನ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಟು ಅನದರ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಇಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಗೆ ವಾಲಂಟರಿ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ತೋರಿಸೋದು. ಓಕೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಲೋಕೋಮೋಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಬಾಡಿ ಆರ್ ಎ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬಾಡಿ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್. ಓಕೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒನ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಟು ಅನದರ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಲೋಕೋಮೋಷನ್. ಬಟ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಬಾಡಿ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಅಥವಾ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬಾಡಿ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್. ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಇವೆರಡಕ್ಕೂ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ. ಇನ್ನು ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್: ಅಮೀಬಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ಸಿಲಿಯರಿ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮಸ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ 3 ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಅಮೀಬಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬಂದು ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾರಿಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಬೈ pseudopodia formed by streaming of protoplasm as in amoeba. Such movement is observed in macrophages, leukocytes, amele cytoskeletal elements like microfilaments. Ciliary movement, it occurs due to the movement of the cilia. Okay, it occurs due to the movement of the cilia. Example: ciliated epithelium lined internal tubular organs, trachea, female reproductive tract. Muscular movement anta helidre in these muscles are involved. Example: limbs, jaw, tongue. Okay, muscle ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇವಾಗ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗೋಣ. Muscles are specialized tissue of mesodermal origin. They have properties like excitability, contractibility, extensibility and elasticity. Muscles are of 3 types. ಯಾವುದು? skeletal muscles, visceral muscles ಮತ್ತೆ cardiac muscles. ಈಗ skeletal muscles ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ these are also called striated muscles as they have light and dark bands. Skeletal muscles are attached to bones by tendons. Skeletal muscles are voluntary muscles. They are unbranched and cylindrical in shape. Red muscle and white muscle. Red muscle is due to pigment myoglobin. These are aerobic muscles, and white muscle contain very less myoglobin. These are mainly anaerobic. Okay, red muscles are aerobic muscles, white muscles are anaerobic muscles. Structure of skeletal muscles. Skeletal muscle is made up of a number of muscle bundles called fascicles anta heltivi. The muscle bundle contains a number of muscle fibers and are held together by a fascia. The muscle fiber is a syncytium. That means it contains many nuclei. The plasma membrane, cytoplasm and endoplasmic reticulum of muscle fiber are called sarcolemma, sarcoplasma and sarcoplasmic reticulum respectively. The endoplasmic reticulum stores calcium ions. Okay, in the sarcoplasm, large number of parallelly arranged filaments are present. These are called myofilaments or myofibrils. Myofibrils has alternate dark and light bands on it. The banding in skeletal muscles is due to 2 important proteins, that is actin and myosin. Actin is light band and myosin is dark band. Okay, it is also said to be I band, that is actin. Idanna isotropic band anta kuda karitare. Inna myosin bandbitu anisotropic band anta heltare. Actin thin agirutte, myosin thick agirutte. A and I bands. Okay, A and I bands are arranged alternatively throughout the length of the myofibrils. In the center of each actin I band is an elastic fiber called the Z line, which bisects it. In the middle of the myosin, it is a thin fibrous, that is the M line. The portion of myofibrils between 2 successive Z lines is the functional unit of contraction called sarcomere. At resting stage, thin filament overlaps the thick filament. This central part of the thick filament not overlapped by thin filaments is called H zone. Structure of contractile proteins. These are the structure of contractile proteins, that is actin and myosin. Actin filament is made up of 2 F actins helically wound to each other. F-actin is a polymer of monomeric G-actins. Throughout the length of the actin, 2 filaments also run. A protein tropomine is also located at regular intervals on the tropomyosin. In the resting state, a subunit of troponin masks the active binding sites for myosin on the actin filaments. Myosin filament is a thick filament. It also consists of meromyosins. Meromyosin has 2 important parts, that is a globular head and a tail. The head and tail are called HMM, that is heavy meromyosin and light meromyosin respectively. The heavy meromyosin projected outwards at a regular distance and formed a cross arm. The globular head is an active ATPase enzyme and has binding sites for ATP and active sites for actin. Mechanism of muscle contraction. Sliding filament theory ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಈ muscle contraction ನ mechanism ಅನ್ನ ವಿವರಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಸ್ಲೈಡಿಂಗ್ ಫಿಲಮೆಂಟ್ ಥಿಯರಿ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಮಸಲ್ ಫೈಬರ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಬೈ ಸ್ಲೈಡಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಥಿನ್ ಫಿಲಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಓವರ್ ದ ಥಿಕ್ ಫಿಲಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಮಯೋಸಿನ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮೋಟಾರ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಎ ಮೋಟಾರ್ ನ್ಯೂರಾನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮಸಲ್ ಫೈಬರ್ಸ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ನ್ಯೂರೋಮಸ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಜಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಆರ್ ಮೋಟಾರ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಪ್ಲೇಟ್ ದ ಜಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಎ ಮೋಟಾರ್ ನ್ಯೂರಾನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸರ್ಕೋಲೆಮ್ಮಾ. ಆನ್ ರಿಸೀವಿಂಗ್ ಎ ನ್ಯೂರಲ್ ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್, the neuromuscular junction releases a neurotransmitter that is acetylcholine, which generates an action potential in the sarcolemma. This results in the release of calcium ions into the sarcoplasm. Ca++ binds with a subunit of troponin. Okay, on actin filaments and thereby removes the masking of active sites for myosin. The myosin head then binds with actin to form a cross bridge. This is ATP dependent process. Cross bridge pulls the actin filaments towards the center of A band. The Z line attaches to these is also pulled inwards. Okay, during contraction, the I bands get reduced, whereas A bands retain their length. The process continues till Ca++ are pumped back to the sarcoplasm. This causes the return of Z lines back to their original position, that is relaxation. Skeletal system. The skeletal system works as a support structure for your body. It gives the body its shape, allows movement and makes blood cells, provides protection for organs and stores minerals. The human skeletal system consists of specialized connective tissue bones, that is 206 tissues are there in human, and few cartilages. It can be broadly categorized into axial skeleton system and appendicular skeletal system. Axial skeleton system: skull, vertebral column, sternum and ribs. Skull, 22 bones. It has 22 bones. Okay, it is composed of cranial and facial and hyoid. Okay, this is very important. And middle ear, that is 3. It contains malleus, incus and stapes, collectively called ear ossicles. Occipital condyles, dicondylic skull. It articulates the skull with the superior region of the vertebral column. The vertebral column: cervical, thoracic, lumbar, scrotal and coccygeal. ರಿಬ್ಸ್ ಬಂದು 12 pairs ಆಫ್ ರಿಬ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅವನ್ನ ಬೈಸೆಫಾಲಿಕ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ರಿಬ್ ಕೂಡ ಡಾರ್ಸಲಿ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಟು ದ ವರ್ಟಿಬ್ರಲ್ ಕಾಲಮ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವೆಂಟ್ರಲಿ ಟು ದ ಸ್ಟರ್ನಮ್. ಟ್ರೂ ರಿಬ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ 7 pairs ಅನ್ನ ಟ್ರೂ ರಿಬ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಡಾರ್ಸಲಿ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ಡ್ ಟು ದ thoracic vertebrae and ventrally connected to the sternum. And vertebrochondral ribs ಅಂದ್ರೆ 8th ಮತ್ತೆ 10th pairs of ribs do not articulate directly with the sternum but join the 7th rib. ಫ್ಲೋಟಿಂಗ್ ರಿಬ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು 11th ಮತ್ತೆ 12th pair of ribs ಅನ್ನ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ದೇ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ವೆಂಟ್ರಲಿ, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಫ್ಲೋಟಿಂಗ್ ರಿಬ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಅಪೆಂಡಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಸ್ಕೆಲಿಟನ್ ಲಿಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲಾಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ದೇರ್ ಗರ್ಡಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಲಿಮ್ಸ್: ಈಚ್ ಲಿಂಬ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೇಡ್ ಅಪ್ ಆಫ್ 30 bones. Forelimb, hind limb, patella. Okay, forelimb, it consists of humerus, radius, ulna, carpus, wrist bones, metacarpals or bone or palm bones and phalanges. Hind limb, it consists of the femur, thigh bone, tarsals, ankle bones, metatarsals and phalanges or digits. Patella, it is said to be kneecap, covers knee ventrally. Girdles, pectoral and pelvic girdles. Pectoral girdle means each half of the pectoral girdle consists of clavicle and scapula. The scapula has a spine which projects as a flat expanded process called the acromion. Below the acromion is a depression called the glenoid cavity. Glenoid cavity articulates with the humerus to form the shoulder joint. Each clavicle is a long slender bone with 2 curvatures. This bone is commonly called the collarbone. Pelvic girdle consists of 2 coxal bones. Coxal bone is formed by the fusion of 3 bones, that is hilum, ischium and pubis. It has a cavity called acetabulum to which the thigh bone articulates. The 2 halves of the pelvic girdle meet ventrally to form the pubic symphysis. Joints ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಹೋದ್ರೆ fibrous joints, it do not allow any movements. Cartilaginous joints, bones are held together with the help of cartilage present and permit limited movement. Synovial joints, fluid filled synovial cavity, it provides considerable movements, ball and socket movement, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಹಿಂಜ್ ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್, ಪೈವೋಟ್ ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್, ಗ್ಲೈಡಿಂಗ್ ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸ್ಯಾಡಲ್ ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್. ಇನ್ನು ಡಿಸಾರ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಸ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸ್ಕೆಲಿಟಲ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಹೋದ್ರೆ, ಡಿಸಾರ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಸ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸ್ಕೆಲಿಟಲ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಹೋದ್ರೆ, ಮಯಸ್ಥೇನಿಯಾ ಗ್ರೇವಿಸ್, autoimmune disorder affecting neuromuscular junction leading to fatigue, weakening and paralysis of skeletal muscle. Muscular dystrophy, progressive degeneration of skeletal muscle mostly due to genetic disorder. Tetany, rapid spasm, means wild contractions in muscle due to low Ca++ in body fluid. Arthritis, inflammation of joints. Osteoporosis, age-related disorder characterized by decreased bone mass and increased chances of fractures. Decreased levels of estrogen are a common cause. Gout, inflammation of joints due to accumulation of uric acid crystals.